It's very special. This match isn't just a Spanish Clásico, it's a Clásico all around the world. Everyone wants to watch this match. It's like the Champions League final or the Super Bowl.
I think that Madrid-Barça or Barça-Madrid, there's politics behind it and culture behind it and feelings behind it.
Fierce, very vociferous. You know, when we arrived in at the new camp, you know, we'd have to have armed guard running alongside your team bus from the hotel to the stadium.
This is one of life's classics.
There are millions of people watching a Madrid-Barça game, and you can give your fans enormous pleasure, even if it's just for 2 or 3 days after the game.
That feeling is quite incredible, that, especially when you used to come at Barcelona, they had a subterranean dressing room where you come in, you go up the steps, and it's all around you, and that is packed.
This is the welcome that Barcelona fans set aside for just one club. The famous Camp Nou stadium in Barcelona, 110,000 fans, and each and every one of them passionately anti-Madrid. It's quite simply the most hostile reception that Real Madrid will receive anywhere in the world.
This scale Barca, they're seeing that and it crescends. It really, I get goosebumps now. It's all this time later.
I think you feel it a lot more if you're actually from Barcelona, if you have Catalan roots. You come out onto the pitch and there are 100,000 fans supporting you. It's the most important match of the season.
For a Catalan like Albert Ferrer, playing in the Spanish Clásico is a matter of enormous pride, as playing for Barcelona effectively means you're representing Catalonia. For some, a region of Spain, for many others, a country in itself.
It's all about identity. Whenever this team takes the field, they always play for the Catalan flag. They're the pride of the nation, and wherever you are in Catalonia, you always identify with the club.
Barca is an emblem of our city and something that's known throughout the world.
We're Catalan and we're Barca.
FC Barcelona are the symbol of Catalan nationalism, or as they say in Catalan, més que un club, more than just a club.
It's more than a club because it's a philosophy as well. The people identify with Barca because it is Catalan.
It's Catalan against Spain, really. They want their own independence. They're talking about their own, you know, autonomy. They're talking about their own government. They're talking about their own language. It is like, you know, you're playing a different country.
And if you're a Real Madrid player like Steve McManaman used to be, the journey into that foreign country can be hazardous, especially when you're on the Real Madrid coach that's approaching the Barca stadium.
We always knew that there was this area where we were going to come in just before we went underground at the stadium, where we'd all draw the curtains and sort of get to the middle of the bus and wait for this barrage of stuff hitting the bus. So it was, you know, you were certainly hyped up for it because you knew what was coming and the nerves were going, and you know, you just couldn't wait to get out there, really.
As the two superpowers of Spanish football fight it out year on year, the hope in Madrid is that this is purely a footballing rivalry. There are historical reasons for Barcelona's bitterness, but Madrid just want to keep a lid on things.
I get on very well with Joan Laporta, their president, and historically relations have always been good. We are rivals, but we're not enemies, and I keep saying that because it's important not to forget it.
At a national level, the rivalry is between Madrid and Barcelona, and that's for many political and historical reasons. But at the end of the day, this is a game of football between two eternal rivals, Barca and Real Madrid. And this should always come before the politics.
Still, the Madrileños do give as good as they get when Barca arrive at the Santiago Bernabeu.
When we went out, they play a Madrid song, and you know, it happens all over the place. So it never really bothered me. Sometimes when we went out to play Barca at Madrid, you know, it'll all be white and and it spelled Real Madrid, or when we played Barca, it spelled Barca and stuff, and that was always quite impressive.
Off the pitch, the Madridistas see the Catalan separatist feelings as a slur against their nation, and the greeting here is never too welcoming.
In the coach, we pull up to the Bernabeu Stadium, hot day, and packed. We're there quite early, packed with white shirts, and they're chanting. And I'm saying, where are they chanting? And they're chanting, Spain, Spain, Spain. You know, you're not Spain.
That division between Catalonia and Spain absolutely defines this rivalry. Many Catalans point to centuries of repression from the centralist Madrid-based state. The Spanish Civil War of 1939 is still particularly fresh in the memory. It was General Franco's forces that overwhelmed the rebel factions in Catalonia. Then his dictatorship introduced measures that were very unwelcome.
I think it all goes back to the dictatorship, when Franco was around. And really, Catalonia was living under repression.
During the time of Franco, they were not allowed to name the children with Catalan's name. They couldn't speak the language. That's oppression. And luckily enough, it's a long time ago, but for many people it's fresh. And if you talk about oppression, you always have a reaction, and you always will have a reaction in the future because people will remember what happened over there.
There was always that extra dimension because of the Franco years and the feeling that Barcelona has always been a little opposed to Spain. So there was always that extra dimension.
While Madrid enjoyed political domination, it was a period of austerity for Barcelona and Catalonia. People felt that their way of life, their very identity, was under attack from Madrid. But there was one place where Catalans could come together and openly speak their language, at their football stadium, where they went to support Barcelona.
Years ago, it was for them one of the few moments to show the colors of their flag, for instance. With games like that, it was allowed.
And that's how it became a shrine. It became the only place we could speak the language without being, thrown into jail.
So it was in the Franco years that FC Barcelona and Catalan nationalism became inextricably linked.
It's a country's identity. It's their autonomy. It transcends football. It's the spirit of the people.
Nowadays, though, with Franco long gone, there's no need for Catalans to be secretive about their culture or their football club.
It's more than a club, that's what they say. The best in the world. I'm a Barcelonista until the day I die.
Tot el camp, pam, 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 és un clam, som la gent blaugrana.
Tant se val no venir a quata. Ara estem d'acord, una bandera en sa germana, blau, blau, al vent, un crit valent, tenim un ambientat total, Barça, Barça, Barça!
Barça! Barça!
As you might imagine, Real Madrid fans are few and far between in Catalonia. But if you look hard enough, you do come across the odd one or two. There are a couple of supporters groups dotted around the region. But life is difficult for the Madridistas here, and a love of the enemy is nothing to shout about around these parts.
On the surface, everyone supports Barca, but there are a lot of Real Madrid fans here. We think that there are nearly 800,000 Madridistas here in Catalonia.
We have members who are die-hard Madrid supporters, but when they go out on the street or they go to work, Madrid doesn't go down well, not at all. The members here say that it's like Comanche territory here at the supporters club. But we're so far away from Madrid that it brings us together more. We've become more united.
In Madrid, the overwhelming majority are loyal to Spain. And not many institutions fly the flag as proudly as Real Madrid, as iconically Spanish as flamenco music.
¡Qué alegría, madre mía! ¡Qué alegría, madre mía! Que ha ganado el Real Madrid. Aunque lo sienta la Mari, aunque lo sienta la Mari, y lo disfrute Joaquín.
On the pitch, it had been a barren period for the capital city. But 2007 turned out to be their year, as Fabio Capello led Real Madrid to their 30th Primera Liga title. Local boy Raúl, such a hero in these parts, led Madrid's international stars in celebration, David Beckham, Fabio Cannavaro among them. After 3 unsuccessful years, title joy again for Real.
We have all pulled together and worked as a group. So thanks to my teammates, the technical staff and this great family. Real Madrid.
Down the years, Real Madrid have more or less held sway in terms of football success. As Madrid dominated the Spanish league and became almost unbeatable in Europe, it was hard to take in Barcelona. For some, it was this jealousy that ignited the rivalry.
I think that the only thing that Real Madrid has done wrong is to have been better than Barcelona. That's always been true, and in historical terms, Real Madrid were officially the best team in the world in the 20th century.
That view may be given very short shrift in Barcelona, especially given the club's recent successes. But there was always huge suspicion about Madrid's influence. Many felt that Spanish football wasn't always played on a level field.
They said to me, you know, you're doing well, but I've got to say, if you win the league, it's highly unlikely because everyone favours the referees, Real Madrid. They get all the favours, we get the bad decisions, we lose games at the last period when we're ahead. But if you beat Real Madrid, you'll be forgiven.
Again, the suspicion goes back to Franco. The dictator was, after all, a Real Madrid fan.
This story that the Barcelonistas keep going on about, it's like they've never read a book, or they don't know any history or have never seen a football match in their lives. Because if you look at what happened during Franco's era, you see that Barcelona won more titles. So you can't keep saying that Madrid were Franco's team.
Throughout Real Madrid's glory years, one incident still sticks in Catalan throats. It concerns an Argentine star whom they thought was on the point of signing for Barcelona, Alfredo Di Stefano.
Franco wanted Di Stefano to play for Madrid, but he had practically signed for Barcelona. So that was a political move, as he went on to Madrid and won 5 European Cups.
All these stories about Di Stefano rejecting Barcelona for Madrid, and all because of Franco's regime. Well, Kubala did the same thing. He was about to sign for Madrid, but suddenly he became a Barca player.
Whether it was Di Stefano or Kubala, the affair set off a culture of big-name international signings, which is very much alive in the present day. For Barcelona, though, one superstar stands above all others, Johan Cruyff.
President Laporta said that Cruyff is the sporting and spiritual father of the club. Cruyff changed the philosophy here at Barcelona. He had important years with the Dream Team, and, above all, he made Barcelona into a winning team.
We did have a good team in those days. But the problem was that so many times Real Madrid won the league, or Atletico Madrid, Barcelona sometimes, but more often than not, we would finish in second place. But then Cruyff arrived amid a lot of expectation, and we won the league.
Another of Cruyff's teammates was Jesus de la Cruz, who has good reason to remember a particular date in 1974.
On the 17th of February 1974, we went to play at the Bernabeu.
Rivales del fútbol español, el Real Madrid y el Club de Fútbol Barcelona. Estrellas internacionales en los dos bandos. Necher en el Real Madrid y Johan Cruyff en el Barcelona.
There was a famous 5-0 when we won at the Bernabeu, when Cruyff, Niskin, Sortil, Asensi, Martial and everyone was playing.
A los 40 minutos se produce un bonito regate del holandés Cruyff del Barcelona en un forcejeo con Benito y Morgado dentro del área y frente a la puerta defendida por García Remón, rematando fuerte y marcando el segundo gol del encuentro.
The team started to play well and just started to score goals. 5 in fact.
He ahí la carrera de Asensi. Va a chutar. Ahí está el gol.
Every time we went forward, we scored.
Hecho que aprovecha Cruyff para cambiar el juego a Juan Carlos, que se encuentra solo en el ala derecha y que de tiro cruzado y bombeado consigue el cuarto gol.
I just remember this deathly silence in the Bernabeu because they had just been hammered by their eternal rivals. It was so quiet you could hear the flies buzzing.
But Real Madrid had their victories too.
1 month later in the cup final, and not one Barcelona fan will tell you this, we beat them 4-0 in the final. But whenever you start talking about Barca Madrid, they talk about the 5-0 at the Bernabeu, but they're very quiet about the other one.
5-0 had become a familiar result for Barca Madrid games. Johan Cruyff came back to Barcelona as coach, and his dream team wreaked havoc once again.
That 5-0 was amazing.
Romario que se'n va, Romario fa la passada per Ivan i el cinquè que puja el marcador, 5-0.
It was one of the great games of the Cruyff era. There was a fantastic player called Romario who scored 3 goals in a spectacular game for Barca, including a move called the cow's tail, when Romario trapped the ball, dragged it around, and the defence just stopped in its tracks, unable to do a thing. One of the best goals we've ever seen in the Clásico.
Cue celebrations in a distinctly Catalan style.
Perquè això no és futbol, és art!
The year after, though, it was Madrid's turn to celebrate.
It was an extraordinary experience, but a year later we went to the Bernabeu and they put 5 plus us 2. So I suppose justice was done. We had done the same to them and it was our turn. But when you leave the Bernabeu having lost 5-0, we just felt so disappointed. Like, what's happened to us? And thank God when it was finally over.
Sweet revenge then for Real Madrid, and over the years that followed, Real gained the initiative in the great Spanish rivalry. Barca may have won their first European Cup in 1992, but Real won the competition in 98, 2000 and again 2 years later, setting a record of 9 European Champions titles.
No club can claim the kind of history that Real Madrid has. We were the team of the century, and no one can do better than that. There isn't a team in the world that can get close to us.
Madrid tried to build on this golden era by buying the biggest stars in world football. Every year, President Perez made sure he secured a megastar for Real Madrid. But this Galactico culture was kicked off by the most controversial purchase of all. Luis Figo was signed from Barcelona.
Impossible. Maybe if you were from another part of Spain, Zaragoza or Bilbao, then you could go to Barcelona for 4 years and then to Madrid. That's difficult enough. But for players like us who had been at Barca since we were 12 years old, impossible.
Nevertheless, Figo, idol of Barcelona, made the move to Madrid. He wasn't exactly made welcome when he returned in the white of Real.
It was heavy stuff. There was a study that found that the noise levels were higher than any disco in town, decibels that were capable of splitting your eardrums. When Figo came out with his teammates, it was impossible to hear yourself speak. I think it was one of the hardest moments a sportsman has ever had to endure, and I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy.
That Figo match was very unpleasant. The Barca fans were furious that one of their stars had gone to Real Madrid, but what they did was awful. The sad thing was that nobody was punished for what happened. Football should be healthy, clean, but it has always been this way. I don't remember it ever being any different.
But years later, a rare moment of sportsmanship was seen at the Bernabeu Stadium after 2 goals of exceptional quality by Barcelona's Ronaldinho. So good, even Real fans applauded.
Not many players have had a moment quite like that. To get that kind of recognition from a rival like Real Madrid, that was a moment I'll never forget. Something to tell my children and my grandchildren. And I'll keep on working to reach that level again.
It's the week of El Clasico and expectation levels in Barcelona are at fever pitch. Barca's stars seem to be the subject of every newspaper column, every television report and every radio programme. Coach Frank Rijkaard hopes his array of international stars can shine, while the homegrown players hope to transmit the importance of El Clasico.
I think this is an amazing match. We wait for this one the whole year round. I think that the players know the sporting significance of this match, and above all, we know how much it means to the fans to win it.
The whole week is a feeding frenzy for the media, but is that good for the players involved?
There are times when all of this, the media attention, the newspapers, the interviews, what this player thinks, what the teams are doing. There are times when this takes the edge off the fixture, and we shouldn't let that happen for the public or the teams involved.
So match day finally came in Barcelona, and the fans already surrounding the Camp Nou were relieved to see their Brazilian star Ronaldinho recovered from injury to face the old enemy. They call the rivalry between Madrid and Barcelona the war that never dies, and as ever, passions were running high as kick-off approached. In the early stages, Barca's defence was hesitant, and Ruud van Nistelrooy took full advantage. Going forward, though, Barca were a different proposition. Lionel Messi to make it level. This was more like it for those Barca fans. But once again, a lapse in the home defence gave Madrid an unexpected chance. Guti brought down for a penalty. Up stepped Van Nistelrooy to score again. 2-1 to Real. But the Catalans hit back. And if Ronaldinho can't get you a goal, then someone else probably will. Lionel Messi swept in the rebound, 2-2. Real, though, were far from finished. Sergio Ramos made it 3-2. But ultimately, the night was to belong to the magnificent Lionel Messi, who dug deep for a spectacular equaliser just minutes from time. It ended 3-3, a hat-trick for the Argentine, which earned some generous praise too from the Madrid captain, Raúl.
He was on the bench, and he came to congratulate me. He said to me, with those 3 goals, you've shown that you're a great player. Which was a really nice thing for Raúl to say.
Barca's season was to end without reward, while Real Madrid landed an unexpected 30th league title.
I think that all the Madridistas can be proud of this team. And let's hope that this is the start of a new era and there'll be more success to come.
But back at Barcelona, there's a much more philosophical take on Madrid's victory. Barca Madrid is, after all, the war that never ends.
Now it's Real Madrid's turn to celebrate and Barca's to commiserate. So now we wait for the next season to start. It's always like this. If one wins, the other loses. One smiles, the other cries. It goes on forever.
This rivalry has existed for years, and it will always be there.
Barcelona need this rivalry, and so do Real Madrid.